Hey young friends, Dr. Bill here. I'm back with another episode in our series on big names in the Bible. We've been focusing on Jesus for the last several sessions, and of late we've been talking about the things that Jesus did. So last week we talked about the fact that Jesus healed people. He made them well. And you may recall from that lesson that Jesus healed people of all kinds of diseases, and he did so in some very interesting ways. Sometimes all Jesus had to do was simply speak a word and the person would be healed. On other occasions, he touched the person. And then on some other occasions, he used some very interesting methods to bring about healing in a person's life. Well, close to the idea of healing is the fact that Jesus also did something very unusual. He cast out evil spirits or demons. Here are a couple of examples of that. The Gospels tell us that one day Jesus and his disciples got in a boat and went across to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. No sooner had they arrived there than they met a man who was filled with many evil spirits, many demons. They were ruining his life and threatened to destroy him. He was so undone by these spirits that the only place he was happy was in a cemetery. That's where he made his home. He would often howl in great agony and in pain. And even though his neighbors wanted to help him, there was very little they could do. When they tried to restrain him to keep him from hurting himself, well, he would break all of the chains and all of the bonds. So when Jesus met this man, he was really in bad need of help. And so when Jesus spoke to this man and asked him his name, the man replied, "My name is Legion, because we are many." In other words, there were many evil spirits inhabiting this person. He was hearing a lot of different voices in his head. Well, as the story goes, Jesus cast out all of the evil spirits, and the man was made completely whole. In fact, when his friends and neighbors came to see what had happened, they found him in his right mind. There's another story similar to that. On one occasion, Jesus and his disciples were met by a father who is very anxious. The father came to Jesus and said, "My son is possessed of an evil spirit." And he said, if that's not bad enough, this spirit sometimes works on him in ways that puts him in danger. For example, the spirit can convulse him when he's near the fire, and I'm fearful that he's going to fall into the fire and burn himself. Or sometimes if we're crossing a bridge, we're near water, the spirit can convulse him, and I'm afraid he's going to fall into the river and drown. This was very serious stuff here. Well, Jesus cast out the evil spirit from that young boy's life, and he too was made whole. Now, casting out demons, casting out evil spirits is not something we have a lot of experience with, is it? That seems so strange and so foreign to us. Well, perhaps I can sum up what Jesus did this way. When he cast out evil spirits, Jesus was taking the bad out of a person and making room for something good to thrive. He was removing the bad and making room for the good. Maybe I can give you a picture of that this way. Maybe some of you have seen your parents or your grandparents when they've been working on cooking breakfast or perhaps baking something. And so in the process of doing that, maybe they'll have to crack some eggs and include them in the recipe. But in the process of cracking eggs, sometimes we let some shell drop into the eggs. And you've probably seen your parents or grandparents. When that happens, they work hard to remove the shell to get it out of the eggs. No one wants to bite down on a crunchy piece of shell when eating eggs. No one wants to be eating a delicious piece of cake and then come across something crunchy, something that doesn't belong. So when your parents or grandparents remove that shell, they're trying to make sure that the recipe can be as good and delicious as possible. Or think of it this way. Maybe you've had an infection and you've had a fever, and when you go to the doctor says you need an antibiotic. And so he gives you the medicine. And what the medicine does is it kills off all of the bacteria that is creating that infection. And by getting rid of the bad bacteria, that allows our bodies, the good cells in our body, to begin to thrive again, to begin to feel better and make us feel better all over. That's the best I can do for that. I mean, it seems to me that when Jesus was casting out evil spirits or casting out demons, he was simply getting rid of the bad and giving a person room for the good to thrive. I know that may be a little hard to understand, so as always, if you have any questions or you want to follow up with me, you can give me a phone call, send me a text, send me an email. I'll be glad to respond anytime, anywhere, and in any way. As always, I'm glad you've joined me, and I wish you well and I hope you have a great rest of the week, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.